All right, we are live. Hey guys, I am excited to be back on the TED Show with the one and only Kendra Davies with
Oh,
stellarlifecoaching.com, stellarlifecoaching.com. I could be an old radio advertising voice if I needed to be. I am always excited to do our Talk It Out series with you. You have great insights. You don't let me get away with anything, which is lovely.
uh-huh.
Um, and then this week, we're going to continue because people loved the 5 love languages discussion. And so I went
Yeah.
in. Yeah, we got lots of good feedback on that. I think people are fascinated by it. I was too. So I went in and did mine.
Oh,
But enough about me for now. Kendra, tell them a little bit about you and Stellar Life Coaching, and then we can
hi,
talk it
everybody.
out.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kendra Davies, and I am a life coach and positive psychology practitioner, and I own Stellar Life Coaching here in Orlando, Florida. And Ted and I connected a few months back, and I think there was some natural synchronicities, and we both have this deeper desire to talk about all of the things and how to be better and how to live better and how to be kinder and have more compassion and live a fulfilling, purpose-driven life. And Talk It Out was born. And
Yes, it
I'm
was.
excited to share as much information, knowledge, resources as I can. And here we are. And we got Ted to take the love language
I
test.
did.
I
I
am
took the
excited.
test.
I am
I'll put
excited for
the
him to share his results.
I'll put the link in the comments after the show so people can
Mhm.
see where I took my quiz. It's funny because you take those quizzes and you think you know what the outcome is going to be. And I guess maybe you don't know yourself, or maybe you're not. Maybe I wasn't being honest with myself. But let's talk. Before I tell you what my results are, tell
Mhm.
them again what the 5 love languages are.
Okay, so the 5 love languages is basically a way to identify the way you receive and identify love. It is within the context of relationships. They have a variety of tests when you get there. You can take it as a single person, you can take it as a couple, you can do it with your children. There are workplace versions as well. The idea behind the love languages is recognizing that we're all different and we're all going to interpret actions, words, and behaviors in different ways and internalize them and give them meaning. And the love languages allows us to identify whether that is physical touch, quality time, acts of service, gifts. What was the other one?
Words of affirmation.
And words of affirmation, which is my numero uno.
Mine too. Angelia just popped on and said, "Are you words of affirmation?" Yeah, I'm words of affirmation. But so explain though, is it the way that I like to receive love, but not necessarily the way I give love? Or
Correct.
that's a whole nother discussion, but that's how I want to receive love.
Yes. And so here's the thing, and I have shared this before, and I can share this again. There's memes on the internet that basically tell you exactly what the love language is and how you can show up and things to avoid and why it matters to certain people. So if we're talking about your words of affirmation, we're talking about expressing your love in sincere words and explaining the reasons why. So saying words like, I love you is important, but sharing the reason behind why you love a person whose number one love language is words of affirmation is more important.
You have to explain it. So Juliana just popped on and gave you a big heart. Hey, Shirley Stamper, what's up? So you have to say that one more time because it's not just the expression of it. It's not just the
Right.
words. You have to give the reason behind it in order for it to count.
Mm-hmm. So there's actually a book called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rose. Damn it! Every time I say it, I get
It's
it wrong. It's
Rosenberg.
Rosenberg. Thank you.
I think is
Okay.
what you told me last time.
And when he talks about giving compliments, he actually makes the suggestion that when somebody gives you a blanket compliment, like you're beautiful or you're such a good person, like practice asking what makes you say that. So if I say, Ted, I love you, that is nice, that is kind. But if I say, Ted, I love the way that you show up in the community and the way that you engage different people from all walks of life and how you take so much time out of your schedule to show up for the Orlando community. I just admire it, and I think it's wonderful, and I love you. Holy shit.
So much better, because now I know you actually thought about it and it wasn't just reactionary or what you thought you had to say.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
I think the same thing goes for compliments. I could tell you that you're pretty. I can tell you that you've got great style, but I can compliment that jacket. I can I love the peach jacket. That's like my favorite, right? But I think that we can also practice telling people why. Why are they beautiful? Why do you think that they're kind? And that's the best way to practice your words of affirmation, folks.
I mean, I'm curious, is anybody not have words of affirmation in their top 2? I mean, yes. my top 2 were that's so fascinating to me, because as we shared earlier before, physical touch is 0% for me, and I'm a huggy person. How do you get 0 for that? Like, that's I don't like to receive hugs. It's fascinating to me.
Well, and remember, it's not necessarily that you don't like to receive hugs. It's just that in contrast to all of the other ways that somebody could show up for you, you'd rather them check all of those boxes. And if they didn't hug you, you'd be okay.
It's so weird, because I'm such a touchy person. That's how I express it back, though. And that's where some of the confusion comes in, right? Because the way I receive it is sort of the way I give it. And maybe that's not necessarily what the other person wants to receive.
Yeah. And I think that that's the whole point. You know, the foundation of the love languages is that if I can accept that I have a love language, you have your own love language, then it's not just that I can tell you what mine is, but now I know how to show up for you, right? So in positive psychology, we talk a lot about how when we have when our partners or our friends or whatever have positive things happen in their lives and we have lackluster responses, that actually causes more damage than when we have knockdown, drag out fights. Right?
I believe that.
Like, I can give you the benefit of the doubt. Like, I know that you don't yell at me all the time, you know, whatever. I can find ways to forgive you for those things. But when it comes to, hey, I got a raise, and you're like, that's excellent, we got to get in the car and go to dinner. Right? When it's dismissive or it doesn't celebrate the thing, right? That damage to a relationship, any relationship, outweighs negative confrontation and conflict.
So interesting.
So when we talk about love languages, it really is a way to prepare yourself to show up for other people. If I know yours is words of affirmation, then I know that a meaningful compliment is going to go a long way.
Yes.
I know that remembering your kids, remembering Stacy, remembering the things that you go through and asking you pointed questions about the things that I know about you are going to be far more meaningful.
Well, yes, because there is thought and support and love and caring and compassion behind that. And the worst thing that someone can do, I guess, other than physical touch, no, the worst thing that someone can do is give me a hollow compliment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it makes my skin crawl, and I can smell that a mile away, because that ish is just horrible. And but what happens is a lot of people have gotten through life and networking and business and relationships doing exactly that. They give you this hollow thing that apparently works on some people. I don't know how it does, but it's hollow and you can tell it.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
And that's why I like Marshall Rosenberg when he says, ask the question, right? Like, if it's your love language and you know that, you now get to be empowered to ask for what you need. So when you get that icky compliment and you're like, that sounds shallow, ask. I mean, I really appreciate that compliment, Ted. Would you mind telling me what makes you think that way?
I mean, you know, when you say that, it makes me feel like I would be perceived as pompous by, well, Kendra, tell me why you love me. You know, it's just, there's so much, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I love to challenge hollow people anyway. And it's not that you're a hollow person. It's that you just don't know any better.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. So instead of making the assumption either way about the other person, give them the opportunity to answer the question that you have for you, right? Because the alternative, if I don't ask, is then I harbor some resentment, or I make up a story about you in my head about how you're shallow or you're whatever, when really if you don't know my love language, how do you show up for me?
Correct.
So, and you know people like this too, the people who don't want to talk, right? Like,
yes, I
I
know
have
them.
people who, and I'm a talker, Ted. Literally, that's what I get paid to do all day, every day. I'm on a phone for 10 to 12 hours a day. Yeah.
Oh my God, no.
I get paid to talk. I have clients who are like, listen, I don't want to do an hour. I got 30 minutes. Let's make the waves in 30 minutes. If you need an hour of my time, this isn't going to work. Their thing isn't words. It's not about words. It's about those acts of service. It's about physical touch, connection, energy, not bailing, doing what you say you will do.
Right, which all fall, you just have to figure out how that falls. Before I go to the next thing, though, and ask a question, Amy Thurston said, Kendra's mom taught me so much about friendship, and I loved her so much.
Thank you, Amy. Oh, Amy's going to make me cry.
There you go, Amy. All right. All right, let me go to bottom, because apparently quality time is second low man on the totem pole. So what is quality time? I would think spending time with people I care about. I don't know. I'm fascinated by that.
So, okay, so quality time is spending time together while being present and giving your full undivided attention. Turn off the televisions and put the phones away to be fully present. So
I don't expect that from people.
No. Well, it's not just that you don't expect that from people, but if I make a conscious effort to put my phone in my purse because I'm trying to show up and be present for you, you're probably not going to pick up on that.
I probably won't. That is so true.
But remember the story about, I shared with you about Jackson's dad, you know, like he would do acts of service for me all of the time. And acts of service is like it's very close to zero for me. It's like 7%, you know? So those things weren't even registering on my radar as like things to pay attention to or to say thank you for. So it works both ways.
Because quality time is important to you. One of them.
Yes. Quality time and words of affirmation and physical touch. Like it's like 30, 33, 33, 27. It's crazy.
Like, I was surprised I didn't have higher on receiving gifts. So nobody take that wrong. Any gifts you want to throw my way, I'm totally going to receive them and love every minute of it. But I found it fascinating because receiving gifts, every time I saw that question, you know, you kind of intuitively know where we're going. And I kept thinking, well, that's so awful. That's shallow. I'm not going to love somebody more because they got me, I don't know, something.
Yeah.
I'm going to love them and appreciate it, but it's not showing me that you love me, I guess. Yeah. It's that weird middle one.
But I feel like it's important to remove the judgment, right? Because some people are going to have gifts as their number one love language, but it doesn't have to be a new car. It could be, you remembered my order from Starbucks, and the next time we meet, you know, in the park, you bring my vanilla latte, right? It could be that you know that I love Grey's Anatomy, and so when you go to New York City, you buy me a Grey's Anatomy T-shirt, like, or Seattle, or wherever the fuck it's filmed, right? like you do something that is thoughtful, and you give me a gift like that. Yeah. So it's not necessarily shallow or even, like, for me, like, you literally can't clap loud enough. Like, I love words of affirmation. I love the words. I want to know all about how much you love me. And that feels good, right? Like, you could literally not clean my house and not help me in any of those ways. But if you tell me you love me and you tell me I'm pretty every day, like, that's
going to do it.
That fills my cup.
But so acts of service don't go. See, that's my second one. There, words of affirmation, 33%, and acts of service, 30%. So what is this is daytime version. What's an act of service?
All right. So acts of service are the things you do to ease the responsibilities and burdens of others. It means a lot when someone goes out of their way to do something for someone else, especially when it's a sacrifice. Examples could be doing the dishes, laundry, washing their car, running errands for them, fixing things around the house, helping them with a project, picking out their clothes every day.
Stacey is listening to this. It's hilarious.
Doing things without being asked, sacrificing what you want to do for them. So this one, that doing the things without being asked, you've literally said that out loud between these two shows like twice. So it makes sense.
So doing things when they're not asked, I can understand that. I love when I'm surprised by somebody's generosity.
Yeah.
And so I think, and it's not that I don't think I deserve it. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm always surprised when that generosity. I'm always excited when that's a surprise of generosity. Like, wow,
Yeah.
you actually thought something through and did something totally unplanned where I wasn't part of the planning, and you did this. So I understand that acts of service. It's fascinating, and yet that's at
And
the bottom for you.
it is. It is. So things to avoid for acts of service, right? Because this one is number 2 for you. So things to avoid with Ted Bogert: laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them. I'm
My
going to go
goal
with
in life is to
accurate.
make it 100% not work for me.
Yeah.
What was the say? Oh, laziness. I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, I agree. Especially when I'm used to working, 3 different jobs or positions. What was the middle one?
The middle one was broken commitments.
Yeah, I'm a big person on you tell me you're going to be there. And
Yeah.
then that's why I get on myself. Like we were supposed to do this at 1 o'clock today. And because of me trying to get used to treatment scheduling, that didn't happen. I get on myself about it equally as hard. But I also expect, because I expect it. Look, if you tell me if you're going to tell me you're going to meet me at 5 and you haven't called or left, and you say, yeah, I'm on my way. Yeah, we're only going to have one meeting, if even that meeting.
and this is like, how much more empowering is it when you know what your love language is and you begin a new friendship or a new relationship and you can say, hey, listen, this is going to be really important to me. Like, I'm going to move mountains for this relationship when I know that you're going to do what you say you're going to do, and I can rely on you to help make my life easier. Because I'm going to do the same for you. I'm going to have that same expectation. And now this person knows, oh shit, I'm going to have to cancel this appointment with Ted. I need to give him as much notice as possible. I'm going to apologize 20 million times because I know how much it matters to him. Even though I may not actually think that it's that big of a deal.
Correct.
I know how you function and how you perceive it, so I can show up for you.
I think it's so important too. One of the things I was thinking about in my 25-second prep for my shows that I do is that this could be utilized for one of the relationships I think that is so critical yet so overlooked is the donor volunteer nonprofit relationship. And I think that volunteers, just like employees, just like your significant other, it doesn't matter, we receive it differently. We speak it differently. And so one volunteer may love to get that award every year that says their name and you're fantastic. And one person may just want a thank you or a hug or an affirmation, I guess.
Yeah.
They didn't need. And so I think it's just so important that we evaluate it. It has much more meaning and much more scope than just boyfriend, girlfriend.
For sure. Like, even with my son, like, his is clearly quality time. Like, he literally just wants me to sit next to him while he plays the game. He'll literally just here. And then he'll get his iPad and then he'll put his hand on my arm. That's it. So my money is on quality time and physical touch for my kid because he just wants me to be near him. Yep. And he'll just put his little hand just like this.
So sweet.
So it's like, when you know that, that allows you to know how to show up for your kid in a more meaningful way, right? Because you may be buying them toys and like, oh, why aren't you grateful? Why aren't you grateful? And it's like, because their love language isn't toys. Like, that might be how you are showing up, and you want them to be appreciative. You want them to be so grateful, but at the end of the day, that may not be their jam. Their jam is quality.
I mean, true confession. I know, like, for example, Stacy's physical touch is important to her. But I have to say that I'm caught up.
I have a ton of questions about that.
Oh, yeah. So physical, but because I'm caught up in, remember, we're caught up in what ourselves, as hard as we work on them, it's still ego, all that good stuff is there. So I'm caught up in how I'm receiving it. and it doesn't occur to me like it should enough that that's important to her.
Yeah. And this is just why it's important to have the conversations, right? Yeah. And when we're having them more and more, you know, I had somebody, like, we knew each other on Facebook. We were in mutual circles or whatever for almost 2 or 3 years. But when she reached out to me, you know, like, our commonalities, the things that we were drawn to were like the way that we engage and the way that we speak, and that feeling of authenticity, right? Like, we have this mutual way of connecting. And when we started out our conversation, we were both like, tell me what you're passionate about. Tell me what the purpose is. Like, we want to have words, right, and things like that. But I've had other friends, or even dating, like guys who want to be like, let's go fucking skydiving on the first date. Like, chill out. I want to have all of that quality time, but there's also like levels that we're going to work our way up to.
Not on the first date.
No, chill out.
All right. So I'm cognizant of your time.
Oh, I'm good. Let's do it.
Are you sure? All right, good. So I want to ask you, so your top was words of affirmation. What was second?
Quality time.
So it really was neck and neck for you on the two of those. Literally,
they were tied, 33 and 33, I believe.
So what is somebody, if you're in a relationship and you've got opposite ends of receiving, giving, right? Or opposite ends receiving, like for Stacey and I, like, so how do people get more cognitive? What are some of the ways that they can go, all right, I need to be more aware of this instead of being in my own self. Now, I'm not asking you to cure the common cold here, but just some tips on maybe how I can be better. We'll use me as an example.
Sure. So I think that's things like, when it comes to touch, because yours is 0 for touch, Stacey's her number 1 for touch, I think having conversations are really important. So the majority of time when people have touch as a number 1 love language, it's not sex. It's touching my hair. It's, you know, being playful in the kitchen if I'm doing dishes. It's holding my hand when we walk. You know, it's putting your arm around me. It's very rarely about sex. I mean, don't get me wrong, that ain't bad either. But that's not like the whole deal, right?
Right.
So being able to have conversations and ask her, like, I know your number 1 love language is physical touch. What are the kinds of touch that you wish I gave more of? And you might be shocked. She might be like, can you smack my ass when you walk by? That'd be nice. She might say,
you never know.
What did she say?
Stacey said, it's not grabbing my boob. That's my love language. Oh, and now you understand. Yeah. So because sometimes she'll be like, she'll grab my hand, and it's just that's not my natural way. And but I'm okay with it. It's just it's not, but to initiate it, I think is the whole point, right? I initiate the quality touch, adds to it, kind of like the I love you and here's why. They kind of go hand in hand. It has to be a little more than, all right, I'll grab your hand. I mean, sure.
But you're also not supposed to be a mind reader, right? Like, part of the relationship, the dynamic, is that you can say, okay, this is your number 1 love language. It's 0 for me. I have no idea what to do. Part of Stacey's job here and responsibility to the relationship is to say, okay, well, if it's 0 for you, then you probably have no idea where to start. Here's some things that I would like or enjoy, right? And the example that I gave before with Jackson's dad, you know, his thing was acts of service for me. He was filling up my water bottle every day. And then when we would get into conflicts, he would say things like, nothing I do is good enough, because he's doing all of these things for me that I don't care about, because it's like fucking 7% for me. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. But he didn't know, and he doesn't know that that's not for you.
But part of my responsibility in caring for that relationship and for caring for him as a person is recognizing that even though it doesn't rank high for me, he's still doing it.
Yes.
Like, it may not be my love language, but not acknowledging how people are trying, not acknowledging how people are showing up, I think can do damage. Now, he's still responsible to be like, okay, if I'm going to do the water bottle thing, I'm going to have to tell her I did that water bottle because I love you, because you're wonderful, and here's why. Like,
Right. Exactly.
he's going to have to give, it's the give and take, and work with mine and I work with his. And so for me, my giving language is gifts, right? Like
Yes, you're a gift giver. That's correct.
I am, and I want to give, and I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I have ideas of like, how can I do something absolutely fucking ridiculous for this person? Like, do they need an Xbox or a TV? I don't know. What can I do? You know? And being mindful that some people don't like that. Some people are going to be shut down. Some people won't want to accept it. It'll make them uncomfortable. And being able to be told, hey, that makes me uncomfortable, don't do that, and then me respect it, is just as much part of the process.
Wow. I am not that person. So gifts, planes, booze, houses, cars. I'm okay with that. Even though it says I'm not. No, I'm middle of the road on that.
Middle of the road.
Because you're doing more for the relationship by asking the question. Sometimes asking the question and being truly inquisitive and curious and wanting to change is this giant door that gets opened.
Man.
Because a lot of
the conflicts with Jackson's dad were significantly impacted when I began to acknowledge what he did do, right? Because I'm me, so I'm a talker. You know what I mean? There's nobody is going to be like, Kendra didn't tell you what she needed. You know, right? But a huge thing happened when I stopped being indignant, and when I stopped saying, I don't care about that. Stop doing it. I didn't ask you to do that. Don't do it for me if you're just going to hold it over my head, right? When I stopped doing that, and I recognized that it is not my love language, it's not the thing that registers for me, but I can acknowledge that he's doing it, he began to shift. He became willing. You know what I mean? Because if I'm buying you a gift and it's uncomfortable for you, like if I go back to the beginning when I was just boundaryless, you know what I mean? And just giving things inappropriately, it's like, it creates conflict. It creates the icky feeling. And being able to recognize that icky feeling is my responsibility to figure out which giving is appropriate and to whom, and what relationships are worthy of that kind of giving from me is my work, right? But then also, if you know me, then I'll say things like, hey, so I'm thinking I want to buy you a watch. Is that okay with you? Or no? I don't have to.
I love that. Oh, hello.
Say hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, how are you?
Say hi.
Hello.
Hello.
I can see you. There he is.
Hi.
Hello.
I'll give you sweet when I'm done. Okay? Love you.
You're getting lots of love over here too.
Oh yeah?
Yep. All right, so it's 4:59. Are you good? You ready?
I'm good. I want to say, like, because I love this conversation and I think people have been really engaged and curious about it. We'll share the link to take the test for yourself. And again, on that link, you'll be able to access it for singles, couples, your kids. But there's also multiple books about the love languages that you can read and the love languages at work that I think are just as important. So like right now, we're 24/7 wherever we are, right?
Right.
So you may be around your family significantly more than usual. But when we are in the office, when we have to work with people, understanding love languages and understanding how people receive and give is so, so important. Like, you're going to work more, you're going to do anything else your entire life. Invest the time and knowledge to understand how to show up and how other people need you to show up in order for you to be effective. It'll change the way you communicate. It will change the way people see you and the way you see yourself and the way that you engage with folks at work. I think it's just a really, really meaningful way to engage.
And how do people reach you? What's the best way?
You can go to stellarlifecoaching.com. You can call me at 407-203-8933. You can text that number as well. Yeah. Send me your questions.
That was awesome. Thank you. Amazing.
Thank you, Ted.
So we'll
Give
be
me
back next week. Yes, I love that conversation. I'm learning. Aren't we all?
Always.
All right. Appreciate you. We love you guys. We'll be back. We'll be back next week, and I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.